This week on DRC, we talk a lot of bit of Hearthstone and a lot of bit of lore. If you haven't been paying attention, Legion dropped for the World of Warcraft, and we discuss maybe some of the changes that might be coming with the last set of cards coming from this adventure. All that and more, DRC starts right now.
You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. This is episode 79. I am one of your hosts, Mike Tech2Hearn, and I'm joined by Mr. Bradford Lee.
The Mike Tech2Hearn.
And Mamushu Hill.
I'm actually so happy that you started with Brad because I was mashing the fuck out of my keyboard just then trying to live.
What are you playing there? Just some little game?
Oh, just a little game called the only game I've ever played ever.
Yeah.
The World of Warcraft Legion. I believe.
Legion. Is that French for Minesweeper?
Yes.
Nice.
That's But no, for those of you playing at home, Hearthstone's older brother, World of Warcraft, released their 6th expansion about just over, 13, 15 hours ago in NA, something like that. And as someone who arrived home from work about an hour and a bit after that, I have been playing ever since. And I've just crossed the 24-hour mark of time awake. So we're doing good, boys. We're doing good. Currently sitting at I'm like 1 bar from 108, but yeah, we can go into that more later. But basically, this is my life now.
Nice. What about you, Brad? What's going on with you?
Same as it ever was for me. I am playing Hearthstone. Sadly, I'm not getting into Legion.
Streaming and memeing.
Streaming and memeing, left and right. Streaming and memeing.
That rhymed better in my head than it actually did when I said it. But yeah, I don't know. Streaming and memeing. I think if you like,
it's gonna be an memeing.
Memeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been memeing when I've been streaming though.
Man.
That's like half the experience. Is like the dankness of the memes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Brad's pretty
dank. That's the only way to do it. Yeah. Dankford Lee right here.
Dankford Lee.
I've been playing like this crazy Reno Jackson, Beneath the Grounds, Inzoth, Yogg, Moat Lurker, Shadow Step deck.
Okay. So what you're saying is cancel.
Well, come on, it's not cancer. I'm not playing Face Hunter.
Someone who was advocated for Yogg to be a less serious card. It seems like it's a very tongue-in-cheek claim that Yogg can't be in the co team, but I'm just gonna go ahead and meme people on my stream.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing.
Stream.
If you want something to get banned, you have to play it, right? You have to play it to the point where it's like literally everyone's playing it. That's how it gets banned.
I've heard Reynad say that before.
I mean, I don't know. I'm honestly like over with the whole Yogg thing. I'm just kind of so pissed off at it that we need to make hashtag fuck Yogg trending.
It's like I suppose you're at the similar point that I'm at with social justice warriors, where it's just like there's only so much crying you can do before you just have to accept it exists.
Are you suggesting that social justice warriors are on the same level as Yogg Saron? Is Yogg Saron a social justice warrior? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying the social justice warriors are probably worse than like Yogg because at least you get 10. You usually get about 10 turns to play without Yogg.
Okay.
But with social justice warriors, you from turn 1 they're going at you. They're dropping sexism. They're dropping racism. It's white power, white privilege. It's just like, but yeah, Yogg Saron's mild compared to a social justice warrior, Mike.
Really? You think so?
I definitely think so.
Okay. All right. I'll buy it.
So, as someone who has not been playing Legion in the past 12 hours, and for the most part, I've seen you on Hearthstone about twice in the past week and a half, Mike.
Yes.
What the hell have you been doing? What do you even do?
Work. This weekend. Well, go ahead. You got a question? Comment?
Now, as someone who has taken time off, speaking about myself personally, has taken time off work to play World of Warcraft for the next 5 days.
That's so awesome.
Do you feel like in your current professional life you are achieving a healthy work-life balance?
No.
Yeah, no, that's
How does that make you feel about your job, Mike?
Well, when you put it like that,
not very good.
not very good.
Not very good.
Do people from your work listen to the podcast?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. I won't ask more questions.
Yeah, well, no, it's just, I mean, I'll tell you if I can't say anything. No, it's just been busy.
Gotcha.
This weekend, so me and my wife's birthday are both in August. So, and August is the busiest time of the year for her, that and the end of the school year. So
Sure.
we had family over this weekend to just do a joint celebration to do it. And so, yeah, so we, what did we do? We smoked 7 pounds of pork. So we did a nice pulled pork.
That is not where I thought you were going.
Oh, that's where I went.
You just said we had a joint celebration and we smoked 7 pounds.
We talked about that last week, didn't we?
Is it? You're not in a state where it's legal, are you?
No.
No,
Brad, you aren't
you
either.
might be in
right?
a state.
Yeah,
I'm not technically in a state that's where it's legal.
All right.
I can see a state where it's legal.
Okay.
It's like
from my doorstep.
I'm not in a state where it's like saying I'm not in a state where it's criminal. It's or are you in states where it's criminal?
Oh, I'm in a state where it's really criminal. Actually, I think it's the highest jail sentence in for distribution in the United States.
Really?
Is the state?
No kidding.
It's like first or second or third.
Wow.
It's one of the top 3.
That's
Dude,
brutal.
I fucking lost it this week because I was like, have you seen the starter pack meme where it's like I don't I think the one I saw was called the I don't do drugs starter pack, and it's a picture of like Panadol, coffee, beer, and just a bunch of just painkillers and shit. I'm just like, thank me, I support it. The hypocrisy, Bradford Lee.
The hypocrisy.
I
can tell you that earlier in this week, though, I actually went across the border, and there is literally right across the border, there's a pot shop. And I went in a pot shop, and it was incredibly awkward to go in there today, or the other day. Very awkward to go into because you go in there and they're like, we're gonna need see your ID, and I'm like, is it okay if I'm not from this state? Because I don't know the laws and stuff because I've never gone in one before.
Yeah.
I just want to go in and look around, because it's just opened up. And they're like, oh yeah, of course. And they checks my ID, and I'm like, okay, sure. And then he's like, so what can we help you with? We've got eighths, we've got pounds, and just oh, this is really weird. I don't know what to think about this. It's like a drug dealer's got a shop now or something. But it was really weird. I just kind of moseyed around, and they're like, yeah, we've got this and this and this and this, and they just kind of he went through 70 different varieties of weed, and I was just like, I don't really want any of this. I just came in to say what's up. So I don't know. Just kind of weird. I don't know.
just went
Very
into
odd
a
experience.
marijuana store to say what's up.
I mean, I just wanted to go explore because it just opened up. I didn't really go in there to buy pot. I just went in there to explore and see what this was all about. It's a new experience for me.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so leaving weed and going back to work. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I will say, speaking of work though, one of the guys, Tommy Funbags, I actually work with him. He's usually a regular here on the stream chat. He started playing about the time I met him, a year and a half ago, and he's been listening to the show ever since I met him. And he has been playing a free-to-play deck, but he just came bare bones. I can't even remember what expansion was out then. Dude hit rank 5 this week. So congrats. Slow clap for
rank 5. Like, is he gonna make a push though for Legend? Is that his plan?
He was going to, but he's like, I know there's only like a day left, so I don't think he's going to. He was debating it, but it was just how good he was doing, I guess, was what we were getting at.
Definitely.
It was. I was really really happy for him.
As someone who has played from amateur to Legend from rank 5. If you haven't done it before, you definitely want at least a week up your sleeve. Otherwise, it's just gonna end in heartbreak.
And it's not that it's necessarily something you can't do. It's just that it's a lot of time commitment. It's like, what's the opportunity cost of like spending that much time? It's like you don't do anything else for the next 2 days, and so like if you really want to do it, just you got to spend some time to do it. It's a temporal factor. It's not a factor of can you get there. If you can get to rank 5, you can get to Legend. It's just
exactly
you got to do it.
Right.
Once you get to rank 5, it really comes down to your win rate, and that's what people don't like facing, is the fact that they might be bad.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, I've had to face that several times when I get stuck between rank 5 and Legend. It's like, man, I must be. You have to take a good hard look at yourself, because it comes down to that point where your win rate really, really matters, in the sense that the amount of time it's going to take you to get from 5 to Legend is indirectly related to your win rate. Like, it's not so much to do with win sequencing, like in the sense that if you from rank 25 to 6, where you get the double stars, eventually rank sequencing will make up for your inadequacies in win rate. But and then there's some of that residual effect going between the sub 5 ranks when you get promoted. If you lose 2 in a row and you get demoted, obviously you lose that extra star and you get fucked. But other than that, it's a direct correlation to your win rate, and it's quite confronting for people.
Yeah. Well,
and here we are, year 3 of Hearthstone, and it's still talked about, I guess, because it's like an ever present issue, because there are always people who think the ladder's too grindy, and people who don't hit Legend. But hitting 5, if you haven't hit 5 before, then I mean, he's well on his way to Legend.
Yeah. And something else we talked about, Avery, God, a year ago, 9 months ago, was knowing the meta inside and out. I think that was something he wanted us to take away from that was, it's a different game. Well, even Brad, you said it a couple weeks ago. 5 to Legend it's not much different than what you're going to see in Legend. Again, unless you got those people that get to Legend like, all right, now it's time to play around. Have fun decks. Putting that aside, though. That's kind of what you were saying.
Man, yeah. I'm really feeling the vibe right now. I love what you're saying, Brad. Continue.
Let me put in some really insightful comment here. 1 to 5 to Legend is the same as Legend. There you go. Boom. Insightful comment right there.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you. Previous Blizzard Championship finalist.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What happened? Did you talk about it last week? What happened this time? Like, what with the?
We haven't talked about it yet. No, not yet.
But
all right. Dicks have Harambe. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I took a very interesting lineup to this particular one. A lot of people's strategy. So you guys know the idea of like basic game theory, which is like in +1, in +2, or should we quickly? I guess we should quickly go over that.
Yeah, go for it.
So in is this idea that you're playing like rock, if you will, and in +1 is like paper, and then in +2 is scissors, and they all kind of like combat each other in a sense. So in being like the best 4 archetypes in the whole entire game, would suggest that like you got your druid, your token druid, your aggro shaman, your dragon warrior, and what was the other one? The Zoolock. Those were kind of like the broken, like that was the best, considered the best 4 lineup, and it was going to be the dominant number of people, and it was. So that's kind of like in, and I was trying to operate it like in +1. That is to say that I was trying to combat that particular thing that they were doing. But the way that most people combated that was they banned warrior, and they just tried to beat the other 3. There were a couple people that tried to ban Druid. There were a couple people that tried to ban Zoo. But But I specifically was trying to do neither of that. I was actually trying to ban warrior with the ability to also ban mage if they weren't on a specific warrior deck, or also the ability to ban zoo if they weren't on a specific deck. And so that made my lineup a little bit weaker against the broke back lineup, because instead of having all decks that are good against the 3 decks, so for instance, like freeze mage being good against the 3 decks minus the warrior, if you ban the warrior, you have a good chance to do a pretty decent job if you take a freeze mage centric lineup. But instead I took one that's kind of like split 50-50 in the sense that 50% of the time my lineup's going to be good when I ban warrior, and 50% of the time my lineup's going to be good when I ban something else. So it's a dynamic ban strategy. It's something I've really promoted for the Hearthstone Championship Tour. When you know people's deck lists, I think it's a good strategy. So I tried to employ that strategy again, and I just kind of I lost my first round, won my second round due to Yogg Saron. Thanks, Yogg Saron. Ugh, fucking kill it. Anyway, and then I lost my third round to Firebat. He swept my mid-range Shaman deck. I couldn't get past him with the mid-range Shaman. And my mid-range Shaman deck was really tooled to beat Zoo, and he queued up against Zoo and just kind of got, what is the card name? Silverware Golemed me to death, and I was just like, well, not much you can do there. So I didn't get that very far this season. So not the best performance ever, but it was kind of cool because at the Seattle location, there was a bunch of different players that hadn't been there before, and they were all really good, competent players that I have respect for, in addition to some of the other people that were returning, like Apex Void, who has come to the Seattle location alongside of me every single week, every single season. So it's kind of cool to have those same people come back that are people that now I kind of know a little bit better, and to have met some of the newer people that got there. And like actually we got one person through to top 8 from the Seattle location as well. So kind of cool. It was just really neat to meet all those people again. So cool.
Nice.
It's a good experience.
I mean,
despite not winning, obviously.
if you have to lose to anyone, I mean, losing to Firebat's pretty up there on the list of people I would like to lose to, because he's such a gentleman.
For sure.
Yeah, he's a good
gentleman.
guy.
He's a real Cinderella story. I mean, it's no Bradford Lee the Druid story, but it's a close second.
God damn it. The Druid.
How is your druidic tendencies? Druidic?
I'm still a hippie. I like gardening and usual.
Now, as someone who does not like gardening, I aspire to live a minimalist lifestyle where I will have minimalist impact on the environment, but also not have to maintain a garden. I have been looking at buying shipping containers to build a house with at some point.
Yeah.
And
sure.
That's my strat, to attach solar panels and live in a giant metal box.
Honestly, I don't think it's a bad strat at all, because like shipping containers are already they phase them out at some point anyway, so you can get them relatively cheap, and they're built. If you want to get new ones, they're built into like such like a bulk amount of them.
Shit.
I've looked into it myself.
Did you see that?
What's that?
Did you see how fast Mike rolled away? It was like,
I wasn't even paying attention. Damn it!
Is he man with a purpose? For those of you audio listeners, Mike just like, it was like watching a Tesla just take off. It was insane amount of speed. That acceleration is inspirational.
Yes.
And he's back now.
I'm back.
He has no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry.
I didn't know we were just noting how fast you just wheeled away. You were like, gone.
That was impressive. Might be something to do with the frame camera, but like, that was insane. I
am a force to be reckoned with. I'll just go with that. Sorry, my dog's freaking out. We have one of those Roombas, little vacuums.
Oh yeah,
and the dog hates it. Absolutely hates it. So for the last 5 minutes, he's been whining at the door.
Oh, what a cutie!
I let him in.
Now, as someone who has recently spent 2 weeks of their life in remote Western Australia playing on a 10-inch laptop screen, one of the weirdest things was coming back to a 24-inch screen. And a 24-inch Hearthstone is one of the most like beautiful sights there is in a computer. Like
12-inch screens don't cut it for you, I guess.
No, 12-inch screens. Like the one upside, it was It's like my work laptop, so it's just like a touch screen for some reason. I don't know. They really hit the nail on the head with portable desktop setups, but yeah, Hearthstone was not high on my priority list. But I don't know. It's like, do you ever get that feeling when it's raining and you're sleeping and you feel really good? You're like, man, I'm so happy that I'm inside and I'm not out there getting really wet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing coming home to a 24-inch monitor. It's like, oh man, I'm really happy that I don't have to play on that shit 12-inch screen and I can see like all 10 cards in my hand. And it's just like, whew, this is all I ever wanted. This is life. It makes you so grateful for the things that you do have.
I hear that.
And I do have a 24-inch screen. It's good times. That's deep. That's about all I got. That's about all I got for an opening segment.
That is real deep.
Well,
plenty more, but I always have more.
I want to talk about Legion with you, Mushu. I know you've been jamming it for the last 12 hours or so. Like, what all have you, like, are you 110 yet? Like, because that's the cap now, right?
No, I'm what they call a shit cunt.
Okay.
One of the leveling experience, someone who's played like every WoW iteration for several hundreds of hours, the Legion leveling experience thus far has been absolutely fantastic. There were no launch day problems. There was no
what, really?
Like,
whoa.
Yeah, I don't know what they did, but for those of you playing at home, sixth time is the charm. This is their 6th expansion, and they fucking nailed it. Like, they couldn't do a better job. Like, this is the creme de la creme of expansion day releases, because I personally did not have any issues, like none. Like, my housemate got home about 4 hours into the piece and had to wait in a queue, but that you can't really, that's just how it is when we're playing on the most populated server in the oceanic realms, and it was just fucking perfect. The best expansion experience I've ever had.
As you remember the last one, right?
I do. I was yeah, awful. And I remember the Mr. Pandaria one before that.
I remember that one. Was that bad too?
I have memories of doing a quest for 45 minutes trying to get the kills, so it was like a mounted quest where you jump in like a little helicopter and shoot shit. And it should take about 2 minutes because it took me 45 minutes because I was doing it on the ground, and then came back, to level an ult a month later, and I just breezed through in about a minute or two. And so I'm very aware and familiar with launch day problems across several games. Like that's MMOs are one of my favorite things to do, particularly in the first couple of months where it's just so popular. But yeah, Legion has been a really good experience. By several I mean a couple of my guildmates are 110. In Legion, it was optimized if you leveled in a group, so you could level as a team of 5 and just absolutely blitz the content, and you can do it. I think people are getting it down to under 10 hours going through all 5 zones. Or 4 zones, sorry. That's ridiculous. There are 4 zones. So the idea is you do 2.5 levels in each zone. So 2 levels of content and then half a level of a dungeon. And yeah, so it's been really good. I closed it because when I run WoW, it really sort of puts my GTX 670 Master Race card to the test, and doesn't make for good podcasting. But I logged out at about a bar from 108, so you two have invigorated me. And see how I feel after this podcast, but I might go back and just smash it out and then go to bed. But yeah, we're going for a very hardcore approach this time. We're looking at doing like 3 nights a week of raiding. So
3, holy crap!
Yeah, and show mythic raids, mythic dungeons are open at the moment. So once we get to 110, we'll grind heroics for about a day and then gear up for mythics before the reset next week. So I've got a lot of WoW to play in the next couple of days. It's gonna be fucking fantastic, boys. So keen.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think I would recommend anyone who hasn't jumped into WoW, this is the time to jump in, because this is the most, friendly experience you're ever going to get as far as a WoW leveling experience. It's also the most engaging. Obviously, not knowing anything about the storyline will be a bit iffy, but you can both mostly piece it together what's going on.
It's good to hear, because I honestly, like, I don't see myself getting into WoW, but like if it's inviting and easy to get into, I could see myself using a little bit of my recreation time just to like have fun with it for a little while. Because like I know myself, I know if I play another MMO, I just literally will play it for years. I'll just like steal my entire life away with it. I know I just get addicted to those kind of games way too quickly. So I try to steer clear of MMOs specifically because of that.
Yeah, and it definitely speaks to that kind of, I guess, person who will just sit there and grind. And all of my friends are like that. They'll just sit there. All of them are still at university / working, not very much. So they're all like smashing. They were smashing me. It was really fucking frustrating because I was like, every now and then I get a little bit behind, and so I came home an hour after the launch, so I was already by that time. By time I caught up to them, I went an alternate route. They were already a zone ahead. So basically, and the best thing about this, it comes back to the leveling experience, is it all scales. So it doesn't matter. You can do the zones in any order, and it just scales. And so they were 2.5, 3 levels higher than me, and we just be getting the same XP, doing the same content. It was fine.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. One of the guys in our like little 5-man squad, he played several beta characters, so he was like dragging hauling ass. He was the first one to hit 110. And that was about probably about 11 and a half, 12 hours in. So he was pretty chuffed with that. Dragging a bunch of noobs around. That's pretty funny.
It sounds like any other MMO though nowadays.
Yeah,
that's like the typical, like you just like find somebody who's already leveled up and you're like, yeah, well you just can I just follow you for, I don't know, like 3 hours?
Well, the thing is that because he's done the leveling before, like, so he knows like the most optimal path, because there's the main storyline where you get bulk XP, and then there's obviously side quests and shit like that. So he was keeping us on the main path, and we're doing instances and stuff. I've recently switched to a shaman. So try something different in this expansion.
I think you mean a shaman.
Ooh.
Shaman. A dwarf shaman.
Are you healing or DPS?
I'll be a resto shaman because they have retained a large amount of CC. So
okay.
They're one of the few healers that have retained an interrupt and an AoE stun. So they're pretty good. Yeah. And can you hear the rain behind me? Is that a thing?
No. It's a good thing you're inside.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the sky is falling down outside. Holy shit. Man, fun fact, the day after I left, it's called Kalgoorlie, where I was for a couple of weeks doing work. The day after, there was like not a big riot, but there was some sort of protest riot type shit, and all the workers in the area got called potentially dangerous. But serious business. I got the fuck out of Dodge at the right time, boys.
What are they rioting over?
It was some like controversial court decision involving like a death of a young teenage boy about 8 months ago or something. But yeah, I didn't know anything about it, but it was just really weird to see front news on the ABC Perth website that pictures where I was like 24 hours previous. It's like, oh. But I should be making fat bank from that trip, because I did work 7 days a week, and unlike I don't know what to go with your job in overtime and like time liu or whatever it is that you call it over there, where you get, if you're supposed to work a 40-hour week and you work a 50-hour week, you get that 10 hours, like you can take time off some other time.
Yeah, some places do that.
Yeah. So government jobs, do shit like that. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, Hearthstone.
Hearthstone. What are those things?
It's funny because we like totally just tangented on about But I mean, WoW just came out, and it is relevant to Hearthstone because it is like the reason that that Hearthstone started, and it's potentially relevant to the lore in the future too.
We got into a big debate earlier in last week about Hearthstone's being the premier release for N'Zoth. Like no one, you saw nothing almost nothing about him in WoW, and then all of a sudden they give you a final form of what he looks like, and his sort of relevance in Hearthstone, and so that was a big debate as to like, was that right or not? And I was just like, fuck you, it's right.
Well, I mean, they were trying to change their identity too. They've even said that multiple times that Hearthstone wanted to change their identity to not be exactly the same as WoW. And I think that's probably like a smart decision, because if one fails or the other fails, like let's say Hearthstone fails and WoW continues to be successful, or WoW fails and Hearthstone continues to be successful, they don't want them to probably be on the exact same like overarching idea. You know, like it's thematically, I think making different changes is good for both the games.
They've also, like, Karazhan has been a shining example of how Hearthstone's approach to Warcraft, in that Karazhan is completely different to how it was represented in World of Warcraft. Mora's definitely looks a lot healthier with a bit of skin, because he's
skin.
Some skin. Barnes looks more or less the same. He looks, a little more dramatic in Hearthstone than he does in World of Warcraft. And Medivh looks less like someone who's been corrupted.
Yeah.
How have the Menagerie been? How has that been? Is that the latest wing? Yeah, because it went Opera,
right,
and Menagerie. Redford.
I would say it's been pretty good. So we are on the Menagerie right now. We did get done with the Opera, and between those two sets, which we really haven't talked about those since release, I think the Menagerie had more of an impact than the Opera, even though role players like Kindly Grandmother came from Opera, and Barnes came from Opera, and they're role players. They're going to be seeing play in a lot of those kind of decks. But like with the Menagerie, there's some like defining cards that have switched the tier 1 decks around a little bit, in addition to making other decks a little more viable, if not completely viable. So like the cards I think of that kind of had an impact out of the Menagerie is, and I'll talk about the most impactful one at the end here, is the Curator, which that has led people to try sort of play this. Basically the Curator reads what was the Ancient of Lore? It's basically Ancient of Lore. Effectively, it's an Ancient of Lore that you have to design your deck around it specifically, which it has some restrictions, so it's not quite as good as Ancient of Lore in that regard, and it's not technically a modal card where you can just gain life instead. But the Curator has been fantastic, I think, for the most part, and people kind of see that. But again, it's kind of slow, so I think it's seeing more play in these sort of tempo-y aggressive decks where they just want to refill their hand with more threats at some point. So this just acts sort of like just a refill kind of mechanic for them. The other cards that have kind of seen success are, to a lesser extent, Catrick has been slightly okay. I've actually found that Catrick's a little bit better than I initially thought, because it says after your opponent casts a spell, it does this. So a lot of times you can set up the Catrick to just be like a 2-mana huffer in a lot of circumstances. And since we had the secret one? The secret, oh crap, I don't know the name of it. It's the 3/4/4/3.
The Hunter?
The Hunter card.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of that card?
Yes.
I can't think of the name of it.
I was just playing it and I already forgot what it was. Cloaked Huntress. There you go.
There we go. We both got it at the same time.
Of course.
Naturally, right? Jinx. Cloaked Huntress is kind of helped fill the Catrick's ability to be playable a bit. It's not great, but I think again, one of the things that Catrick does, it makes it so hard to play around Hunter secrets because they all do something else. But the other cards that have kind of had success, that have a little more success, are the Menagerie Warden, which has been a heavy role player in the format now, and the Druid Beast deck is for real. I mean, we knew that was going to be a real deck. The question is, how consistent is it? It's very strong, and Menagerie Warden's very strong itself, but we just need to kind of figure out how consistent it is and see if this really is maybe the best mid-range or potentially even an aggro deck that plays Menagerie Warden, but just how powerful it really is. But so far it seems like it's been fan-freaking-tastic. The other cards that have had some levels of success, I've seen some people playing a Fool's Bane in sort of like a Dragon Warrior, Tempo Warrior style shell, and doing pretty good with it. But weirdly enough, the card that's seeing the most play and making the most impact on the game, not really weirdly enough because it does cost 1 mana, is Babbling Book. And I think it's because it's just 1 mana, and it's not really about what spell you get from it necessarily as the mage player. It's more about just keeping your spell count high while also being able to have some sort of extra threat. And while Battling Book's only a 1/1, it is a threat. It does at some point demand that your opponent answers it, or at least eats a juggle from like a Flame Waker or something. So it does have utility, and I think the card has really pushed the mage deck into the spotlight, and thus actually the Tempo Storm meta snapshot came out the other day, and they specifically, I don't know how I feel about this personally, but maybe it's right. I don't know. We'll see with a little more empirical data from something like the Vicious Syndicate's Data Reaper report.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mage Babbling Book has kind of pushed Tempo Mage into tier 1 according to Tempo Storm, and that has pushed more people because of that report. Has pushed more people into playing the deck, and that just has further pushed Warrior out of being tier 1. Because Mage has a pretty decent matchup against it overall. And the other weird thing is, because Zoo's also kind of falling into dire straits a bit here right now, it's not in the best position it's ever been in. Tempo Mage's arguably worst matchup is Zoo, at least from like a good deck standpoint. And so because of that, Babbling Book has really just kind of pushed itself into a position to give Tempo Mage just everything it needs to. It's now a really solid core 30 cards or 29 cards, and you have maybe 1 or 2 flex spots. But I really think Babbling Book it's been a little bit more than what I expected it to be, but I knew it was going to be playable since it was a 1-drop. But just it's doing a lot more than my initial impressions were towards it.
We talked about the card. I really like that card, and I was hoping it was going to be doing something as far as the meta goes.
Yeah, I feel like anything that costs 1 mana is always going to be impactful.
Yeah. What do you think, Moosh?
Especially stuff that is 1 mana and does things. I mean, that's really what you want in your 1-drop. Shit that does stuff.
Yeah. You know what's... I really feel like this card's still potentially a sleeper because it is 1 mana as well. One of the cards coming from the Menagerie, which is Runic Egg. I feel like that card potentially has been overlooked a little bit. It's just a 1 mana cycle at some point. And I know this sounds weird, but I was thinking if there was like I don't know if it's Priest that would want this or what would want this, but like a Runic Egg deck that has a flip effect. So like the one I think of off the top of my head is the 2 mana one that Zoo typically uses. Oh God, I am terrible with the names of these cards right now. Crazed Alchemist.
Yeah. So
like if you use like a Crazed Alchemist to even flip that, like I know that seems it's really bad to be honest. But like if you can find enough ways to synergize with Runic Egg, I think at some point that cycle effect in some sort of combo deck is potentially really strong. And I know this is going on a limb, and this is the only build that I can think of that off the top of my head that it might fit into is like the Worgen OTK shell, but I do like what Runic Egg offers you because it's 1 mana. It's basically free, because for 1 mana draw card that's like really really strong, and there aren't many effects like that in Hearthstone. But the other spot that I think of it is if there was some sort of like priest deck that used Crazed Alchemist, had 2 Runic Eggs, 2 Crazed Alchemists, and it used the Crazed Alchemist swap effect in order to swap the, let's say, whatever its combo piece is. I'm going to go on a limb here. I know this is the one that pops out of my head because I was listening to another podcast that was talking about this particular card. But Stormwind Knight. Stormwind Knight's a 2/5 with charge for 4 mana. And then you can use, what's the name of that card? The one that doubles their health. Divine Spirit.
Yeah.
So you could try and like set up like a Divine Spirit and then use Crazed Alchemist to flip the minion. And so like if you've got enough flip effects, you can potentially use the flip effects to kill the Runic Eggs to keep cycling through your deck. I mean I know this is going on a limb, but like there's got to be, I think, some sort of synergy with Runic Egg, because a 1 mana draw a card effect is just something that is pretty strong, and combo decks can really try to abuse as much as possible. So I don't know if it's going to be that great, but I feel like Runic Egg is still kind of a sleeper card that we haven't really seen shine yet. But yeah, that's kind of the nutshell of where we're at with the Opera and the Menagerie for the most part.
In a non-face hunter meta.
Yeah, and a non-face hunter meta. When everything isn't about hitting face. Although Runecake is not necessarily bad in an aggressive deck too, because you could just use like abusive sergeants. You could use those kind of effects in order to sort of just clear the board. So I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and say nah.
No. Okay.
I can see what you're saying. Is that like there's definitely an instance where 1 mana 0/2 draw a card is good, but as you said, sleeper card. It's waiting for some support, either from the meta or future sets. But yeah, no, I can see what you're going for. I just don't think it's realistic in the current. From the way I understand the meta and the game at the moment, which is quite limited, let's be honest. Like, probably a little better than Mike, but
Never. Not even once.
Not even once.
Nope.
So how's the streaming, Bradford? What's you still
Streaming world? Yeah, it's going great.
Yeah. The stream of Boner going nice and hard.
I would say we're medium hard on the streamer boner right now.
Medium hard on the streamer boner.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I'm just getting sick of Yogg, guys. I say this every time. It makes me like not want to stream Hearthstone sometimes. I don't mind streaming Hearthstone. I actually really enjoy the game still, like for the most part. But there's just like, it's like at some points, like for instance, the Tempo Mage deck is now being played so commonly at high ranks. And so is like the Token Druid deck, and both of them contain Yogg. Like they're both like these tier 1 decks. Arguably two of the like top tier decks are Yogg centric decks, and it's just really unfortunate that this is kind of where we've degenerated to when it comes to competitive Hearthstone, which is the side of it that I enjoy. And so now I'd rather play meme decks, and I mean my meme decks have Yogg in it too, because I still want to win some percentage of the games, and so Yogg does that some percentage of the time, and sometimes it just shoots you in the face too. So like, it's just there's no. I mean, I gotta pray to it every single night, I guess. It's my only chance. I just can't stand it. I don't know. That's that. I don't know. The streaming's fine, but the Yogg's not. That's how the stream's going right now.
Yeah,
stream's going great though. Myself, I'm thoroughly like this like. I'm just like really happy that I have a really good community of people that hang out in my stream rather than a bunch of shitheads. Makes for a much more enjoyable experience.
That seems
for me
important
and for them.
But
yeah,
the shitheads do give you like the meme donation money though. If you give them text to speech, I mean that's we can't ignore that.
Well,
sure.
You can ignore it.
Yeah, you can ignore it. Sure.
$1 bills. Come on, Bradford, sell it out. Just do it.
I'm gonna apply for a partnership with Twitch here soon. I applied not too long ago because someone asked me to and they denied it, but I'm going to be reapplying here soon, and it's very promising, I would say. So
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
See, I wonder how often that actually happens, because I've only ever heard of them approaching people rather than taking applications. I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. You know what's weird about that is that like I don't really understand their partnership, because they have like a set series of rules that they set out for how like they partner people through Twitch, and it's weird because those rules are obviously not set in stone. They're sort of like guidelines. They're not really rules.
They're more like guidelines.
Sorry, guidelines, not rules. Sorry. Exactly.
Include props in this show, but that would have taken too long to find, wouldn't it, if you had to find like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but yeah, it's
like, for instance, there's one streamer that I know of. I'm not gonna name names because these people have like contracts with other things, but like he's on a team, and so he got immediately partnered, even though he gets like 3 or 4 people on his stream ever. So it's like I don't know how that's beneficial to Twitch. I think they're more like expecting the team. It's more about the fact that the team has some sort of contract with Twitch there. Some people have like gamed Twitter a bit by like doing like giveaways where they give away like, here, add, like, and friend me, all that kind of stuff, and like, and then you you're entered 3 times into this giveaway, and now that person has 2,000 more followers on Twitter, and it makes them feel like they have more reach, and so that puts Twitch in a position where they say, okay, you can have a partnership, even though they don't really necessarily have that particular community about them necessarily, and then they've got like 10 or 15 people that are actually watching them, and so like I see that a lot, and so it just feels like the way that they measure things are a little bit skewed to actually I think what is truly, because it's hard for them to spend a lot of time like going through somebody's channel and saying, okay, I'll spend 8 hours here and figure out how like vibrant that community is or unvibrant that community is, and it's just hard to do that. So, and I understand why it's like that, but like it's just kind of unfortunate that it's like that.
I don't think they need to, like, I don't think you'd ever really need to spend 8 hours in someone's channel to evaluate how like much they could bring to a company. Sure. I know that for a fact that they're not hard rules. They're just, as you say, guidelines, Mike. So the thing with the teams is, a lot of teams, particularly in any capacity of like League of Legends or any game that has any sort of viewership, they'll sign teams. It's one of the easiest partnerships to get because that's what Twitch gives the teams is the partnership button. The sub button, because it's just so advantageous for a smaller team to have a sub button on Twitch, because it means that they can produce content to Twitch people or to people who watch Twitch and have it scale, because that's one of the most cancerous things about being unpartnered with Twitch is you don't get I don't think you get the scaling options, do you? Like you have to be partnered to get, so you can you can stream in 1080p and I can watch it in 360p with my terrible.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure to get options, you have to either be well on your way to being partnered or be partnered, and that increases your reach. The idea is like once you get in, that's when it really starts to snowball. Like building yourself up, that's fine, but once you're in, that's when you can really push your career.
The quality options, to kind of further that really quickly, is that the way that it works is quality options are based on a partners first and then a first come first serve basis after that, based on the number of people that are watching the stream, and that's generally based on how many resources there are. So if there's 100 people that are partnered and there's only 50 resources total, the 100 people that are partnered will get the resources first. But if only 20 of those 100 people that are partnered are online, that means there's 30 excess resources to hand out, and so those resources then go to the highest people. Like obviously there's a much grander scale than 100 numbers, but you get the idea. It's handed out to those people after that based on the number of people that are watching their stream. So
have you considered the team thing any further? Were any follow-ups post championship?
I turned down a team. I turned down actually 2 teams. And I'm actually just doing right now with a stream team called Gaming Bod. They're generally an H1Z1 stream team, but it contains friends of mine. And so I decided to go with more of a route, because the thing is that if I were to go with like a Hearthstone team, I put myself in a position where I have to travel. Because the Hearthstone team wants you to travel, right? They want you to go from point A to point B, play in a tournament, be successful, promote their brand, those kind of things. And that's great. Like that's I understand why they want those kind of things, but I've not been necessarily like desiring to do that. And so in the end, it just kind of fell through. It didn't work out between myself and the 2 teams that I'd kind of talked to about it, because it just doesn't fit me as well as fit them necessarily. Now does that mean I don't have partnership with Twitch? Probably, which sucks. Like I don't get the extra benefit of that. But at the same time, like I'd rather just focus on the streaming aspect of it and still be able to play tournaments, but not like travel to like Copenhagen to go play in a DreamHack or something. Like I'm not willing to travel halfway across the world, or really, halfway across the world in order to go play in a tournament that isn't necessarily going to be lucrative for me, and it may be lucrative in the sense that it promotes the stream, and that's great, but like that's not necessarily what I'm trying to do with my stream, and it's not who I am. Like it doesn't fit with my general ethos as a person, so I'm not like it wasn't a good fit for me. So so it's looking like not a team for now until I find a stream team that is specifically focused around a group of people that are streaming, which is where I'm currently at, and it's just I've focused on, instead of stream team, that's friends of mine that are generally H1Z1 players. or first-person shooter players, I guess, with the predominant piece of that team being H1Z1.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting discussion because I don't know. I don't really talk about this very much.
Yeah.
Is that because you don't want to talk about it, or is that because it's because I can see the line of being like, you know, it's almost proprietary business information, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple things I won't discuss in relation to that, like why I didn't accept certain teams or why different teams moved different directions and we moved different ways. But like, and that's fine. Like those kind of things, it's not something that needs to be discussed. But I just don't really discuss it because it's not really that. It's not pertinent to everybody else. It's only pertinent to me. But I don't know if you're interested in it. Obviously, I'll discuss it with you. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's likely that if I'm interested in it, there are other people who are interested in it, because there are people who are out there just like, because you only get a very sort of, I guess, face value view of Twitch and how it all works. And I've seen a number of different things. Like, I know there's a what's her name? Patra, and she plays
Patra,
Pathra.
I believe that's with Fade to Karma, I believe is what her team is.
No, she's with Vicious Syndicate.
Oh, is she with Vicious Syndicate now? Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Chalk is with Fade to Karma, and they know each other. She's one of the people I met in Singapore. And I know when she was made a partner, she wasn't at that, you know, because they say recommended 500 viewership, like concurrent. And obviously, the thing is, if you can bring something unique to the table, that's where they're willing to sign people who are not up to that yet. They're willing to certainly, take a chance, because they've got very little to lose by signing someone. Obviously, the idea is to keep it prestigious enough that it's something to shoot for, and there's, you know, not just every Tom, Dick, and Harry in there. But yeah, it seems like the rules are quite blurred. And
I would say so as well.
Guidelines. Stop saying rules. We'll say guidelines, because they're definitely not rules.
Yeah, to quickly break it down, I think the biggest factors for the most part is that there's concurrent viewers, as you noted, over about 100. They obviously want 500 or more is like where you're definitely getting subscriptions. Like that's the point where it's beneficial to them to keep you on Twitch rather than allowing you by signing a contract. That way you solely are streaming through Twitch rather than another service. So that's one of their biggest factors is, you know, like concurrent viewers. Which my numbers are high enough, I think, based on how other subscriptions have happened with Hearthstone to meet that demand that based on what they expect from a Hearthstone streamer. Then after that, I think the most important factors are YouTube and Twitch reach, sort of the factors that the secondary market, in a sense, that brings people into the Twitch scene. So that helps grow Twitch, and it helps grow the person's ability to keep growing their personal stream. So that's seen as a positive, and that's, I think, the next big focus. And then after that, there's other like tertiary factors, like if you're on a specific team, if you have high total views. I know that that's not necessarily what they're looking for, but I think total views has an impact on that. And then there's also recommendations as well that make a big factor into that. So like, for instance, if like one particular, I know this is terrible to say, but if somebody who's in bed with somebody else, you know, in a sense, and they say, oh, I suggest this person, obviously you're going to have a better chance there too. So there are a number of factors that go into the way that they manage and do subscriptions through Twitch.
So what you're saying is you need to get busy in the sack.
God damn it.
Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm hearing.
That's what I said. Yep. I guess that's what I said.
DRC confirmed. Brad is looking for a fun night to get on Twitch.
Looking for love. God damn it.
Got him!
Anyway, don't do that.
I did it.
Tom leaving the show is one of the greatest things ever happened.
You know, you don't like that, do you?
I think you say about anybody who leaves the show. You're just like, oh, great. I'm so glad this person's gone now.
Yeah, for that brief period when I was going, it's like, oh, thank God I'm not there anymore. Man, I'm such a shitter.
He even says it about himself.
Oh, you gotta be consistent. That's the main thing. You can say whatever you want as long as you're consistent.
Oh, for sure. All right, should we move on to the next wing of Karazhan for this coming week?
Yeah.
I believe it comes out Thursday. So like, I know that I bet you Mushu is gonna just be jamming some WoW. You're taking basically the rest of the week off to play WoW, right? Right, Mushu.
Yeah. I one other thing I need to do today that includes fill out an important job application. So I'll either do that before. I think depending how, as I said before, how I fill out this podcast, I might smash out the next 3-4 hours and try and get to 110. And then go to bed, wake up, and do this important job application, and then get back to the 100. Because apparently, I've been told the game only starts at 110.
Oh wow!
As it so often does.
All right.
So, yes, cool. That's what I'm going to be doing, because competitive Hearthstone, for the most part, I think is dead for me this year.
It's dead this year.
Like in the sense that because we talked about it a little bit before, the last call tournament. This year it's not like a massive clusterfuck gauntlet types one. It's the top 8 players who haven't qualified for BlizzCon on points for each region in a clusterfuck sandwich for the last spot, of which I do not have anywhere close to the amount of points. And you did mention that it might be different for ANZ, and I do remember reading something suggesting that, but it wasn't obvious to me. Looking for it, because the Hearthstone, I guess, championship website is getting better each year, but it still leaves much to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, when I started playing competitive Hearthstone in January, and just trying to start grinding it, their website was atrocious to try and manage. I don't know if you remember this in earlier episodes. I've talked about this, but I used to keep a calendar of when open tournaments were,
right,
because there was no other better resource, and so the only way I could do it was keeping my own calendar, because their calendar on their website was off as compared to when the actual dates of tournaments were. And so everything was just clusterfuck basically, and that's gotten better. There's been a lot of improvements on their side of it to manage just a lot of the aspects of just kind of making it more understandable and more accessible to the average player. It's still got a lot to go, like Mushu's saying, but it's gotten a lot better over the year, which is good. That's good. I'm glad that.
And that's what you can really ask for, I guess, is because Blizzard are relatively new to this whole esports thing. I mean, they've been getting, as you said, getting better each year.
Right.
Because Heroes was kind of their first one, really. And then obviously Hearthstone and Overwatch. Oh, fun fact. Tempo Storm signed an Australian Overwatch team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know how long that'll last, but we'll see.
Are you saying the Aussies can't play? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I'm saying I don't understand how it's profitable to sign for an international team to sign an Australian team. There's just the streaming scene just isn't that big. I'm obviously getting them to a tournament, particularly a team of 6, is rather expensive. It just doesn't seem viable. But
yeah, they must be either very damn good or, I guess, something.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that one pans out. But I'm not too hopeful that it'll stay around. I guess it's sort of we'll see. It's probably a fleeting thing, pretty much.
Mm. Well, the next couple of cards that are coming out, what's that going to look like or change? Is it going to change the meta? I'm getting the impression from you guys we're not changing the meta. That's how I feel. Other than, I guess we got Secret Hunter back. But next cards coming out, are we going to see any new decks, or is it just going to be same old, throw this in Zulok and instead of this?
Okay, so answering that question is a bit of a loaded question, because it's hard to say that there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards coming out next week.
Mm-hmm.
In the 12 cards that are coming out, in order to shift a meta in this game, you can't just hand 12 cards to people and be like, here, this is gonna change everything. Unless if you give somebody something that's like a Reno Jackson, or where it's a build around me and it forces the meta in different directions, or like a mad scientist type of effect where it's such a powerful and impactful card that it forces different archetypes to come into fruition. And so it's a bit of a loaded question in that it doesn't. I don't think the cards in this particular wing force new archetypes. I think what they do is they take other existing archetypes and either make them more powerful or they give them tools to change the way that they're designed slightly. And that's just kind of like their strategy from there. So like the idea, the card that comes to my mind that will change their strategy is Malkazir's Imp. So we've already seen the Silverware Golem from Zoo, and we saw, you know, that kind of like discard Zoo deck. I think Malkazar's Imp is the card that kind of fits it all together now. Now there's enough pieces there, and there's enough things to make the discard Zoo deck exist. So again, this is a different iteration on Zoo. It's not necessarily a different archetype that's coming into fruition. It's just we're taking the old recipes that we had before, and we're substituting, you know, like whatever spice here with a different spice. It's nothing new necessarily. And the other card that comes to my head is Medivh's Valet, which is the 2-mana 2/3 out of Mage that says Battle Cry. If you control a secret, deal 3 damage. That kind of card feels like it has the potential to maybe spawn some sort of new archetype, like a sort of maybe a tempo mage deck that has secrets. But more than likely, it's just going to take something that already exists and just add some new spice and new flavors to it. And so the deck that I think of again is, and I've been saying this from the beginning, is Freeze Mage, because Medivh's Valet is a 2-mana 2/3 that you can play on turn 2, and that's okay. It's not great, but Freeze Mage would be okay to play that. They're not like devastated if they have to play that on 2, because in some matchups it just trades with a threat. Like it's literally just a Frostbolt at that point. But in the mid to late game, you can use your first Frostbolt and the Freeze Mage decks. You want to save your second Frostbolt for your Ice Lances so you can burn their face with the Frostbolts and the Ice Lances to win the game. So in the mid game, you start running out of those like deal 3 damage effects. And so Medivh's Valet kind of fills that role. You can kill something, and then additionally, having Medivh's Valet as a threat gives you a 2/3 body that can either do 2 damage to your opponent or gain you 3 or 5 life, because they have to 3 to 5 life, because they have to swing one of their threats into your Medivh's Valet. So when they're swinging their threats into Medivh's Valet, you're taking less damage in addition to being removal. So I really feel like Medivh's Valet is a pretty safe fit into a Freeze Mage style deck. Now, if the Medivh's Valet fits into the Freeze Mage deck, is it a 1 of? Is it a 2 of? I'm not 100% sure, because again, the Freeze Mage decks are pretty solid, tight lists. You know, they're pretty close to being stock for the most part. And this is still a situational card in that you have to have one thing exist in order for its effect to go off. But its face value is not situational, but its upside is situational. So it's the kind of card that it's not going to necessarily help you every game to win the game, but in a lot of circumstances, it's going to give you the chance to get to your win conditions. And so I think it's the kind of thing that Freeze Mage wants. And you know, these are only 2 of the cards that I've talked about so far. And as we go through the rest of them, you'll notice that for the most part, it feels like they're either not super impactful or they just kind of help out an archetype. Again, I'll go through one more real quick. Netherspite Historian. Netherspite Historian is a 2-mana 1/3 that says Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, discover a dragon. So it basically fits in a Dragon Priest pretty consistently and pretty efficiently, and it gives you consistency with the Dragon Priest deck, because now you can keep those 1 dragon hands and play Netherspite Historian. It gives you a second one, so that 1 dragon will be able to trigger the other dragon's effect, because a lot of times you need a dragon in hand to cause another dragon's effect. So that's good there. But basically, Netherspite Historian is just a replacement for a card that previously was in Priest that they would use before in those kind of decks. It's their previous 2-mana or 2-drop, the Museum Curator. Yeah. So it just kind of like replaces what Museum Curator did for that deck before, and switches it with a slightly better threat that has slightly better synergy with the Dragon Priest deck. So again, these are kind of cards that just seem to fit, or just kind of role players in other decks for the most part. I do want to mention 2 other cards though really quickly that might actually in this new set or new wing have an impact on the game outside of being role players in decks. And I think those 2 cards are Spirit Claws, which Spirit Claws is the 1-mana 1/3 weapon for Rogue. I mean, sorry, not for Rogue, for Shaman, that says has +2 attack while you have spell damage, and they got Maelstrom Portal in the first wing as well. So with Maelstrom Portal and Spirit Claws, now there's a much higher incentive to have spell damage bonus in Shaman, and so I think there might be some sort of archetype that spawns from that. On top of that, like it's really easy to add just a couple different other cards, like maybe add like a Blood Mage Thalnos and 2 Azure Drakes to your mid-range shell, and maybe add one other spell damage bonus card in order to make Spirit Claws have consistency, as well as make Maelstrom Portal a little more consistent and your Lightning Storms a little more consistent. And so I think that, and on top of that, the deck of like the mid-range shell just already exists, and then there's like sort of like a control shell as well. So Shaman has a lot of cards available to it that develop multiple decks and archetypes. So I really think Spirit Claws fits really well into Shaman. On top of that, at the very worst, it's deal 1 damage, which is exactly what Shaman wants. Sometimes it's really hard for them to deal that extra point of damage to finish off a threat, and they have to waste a real threat or real card in order to answer that threat. And now Spirit Claws can just sort of do its 1 damage, and then you have a 1/2 that later in the game will be a Fiery War Axe for you. So I think that card has a lot of potential to shift the way that Shaman thinks about its deck construction a bit. And then the other cards that come to my head are potentially Medivh the Guardian or Prince Malkazir as potentially spawning new archetypes. Medivh the Guardian could spawn a sort of value mage deck. Is the one I think of first. There might be some other value strategy that would want Medivh the Guardian, because the equip and get a summoning stone effect is really, really powerful. And then, of course, Prince Malkazir is the kind of card that I don't think is actually that great personally, but if there is some sort of straight fatigue warrior shell, I think there's a chance that Prince Malkazir might want to be played there. Probably not, but there might be a chance you want to play it. And especially in like a tournament setting, and let's say the tournament setting becomes all control decks out of nowhere. If that happens, Prince Malkazir becomes a big role player, because what beats the control more matchups is just having more resources than they have. So yeah, that's kind of like my roundup on what I think is happening. Any other cards that you guys can think of that you feel like might have a big impact this weekend?
I don't think Malkazar is going to. I see what your point is about, like adding stuff to your deck, but seldom do I think it's like good unless you're in the absolute attrition matchup to add cards to thicken your deck, because thickening your deck is just like not good most of the time.
Yeah, it's less of a chance to hit Fiery War Axe. Like
right.
There is one thing to note about Prince Malkazir. It's
pronounced
its ability.
That's the thing.
Malkazar. Okay, Prince Malkazar. There's one more thing to note about it. Is that Prince Malkazar has its ability triggers after mulligans, from what I understand.
It does.
So
okay,
I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's one thing that
we've talked about that before. Yeah,
we think we're pretty confident that it triggers at this point, that it triggers after mulligans. Additionally, it does have a 300% increase of chance to hit a legendary from the class that you pick, similar to how Discover has a 300% chance increase to hit from that class. So the class that stands out to me, and is why I say Warrior specifically, is Warrior, because all of their legendaries are positive legendaries for a control shell. You have Gromash, Malkrok, and Varian, and all those are very solid to have in a control shell, because Varian draws you a card, that's fine, and it's a threat. Gromash is great to have, and then Malkrok is, well, just absolutely solid because it's a body and another weapon. So it fits pretty well in that kind of an archetype, I would assume. And there's a higher chance to hitting it, so there's a much lower chance to hit low-end, not good things like Nat the Darkfisher or whatever, or Nat Pagel, or like some of these, or like Millhouse Manastorm, just some of these cards that you definitely don't want for your deck. So it's kind of cool that because it's weighted in one direction, I think it adds to its playability just slightly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the cards.
It'll be interesting to see where it all settles, because we've got not long until the championships for.
Yeah, we have a little less than a month for the first championships at this point.
Okay.
So put it all into the think tank and see what happens. I guess this is where it sort of comes, the competitive season kind of comes to die, because no one cares anymore.
No one cares at all. There's like 4 people that care about last call, because there's 4 people that are queued. There's 4 people that are trying to get queued, and then there's 4 other people in that region that are also trying to get queued. So there's really like 8 people in each region that care. That's pretty much it. I honestly don't like the last call system personally. I think it's it's unfortunate that there is a 4-month hiatus for Hearthstone Championship Tour. And if they're trying to create like an official championship tour, I think there should be a time frame. There should be a time frame when there's no competitive season. So we'll say like, like a week or two or month maybe, because they're doing Worlds or they're doing BlizzCon, if you will. But that there's this sort of like 4-month law for competitive players where they're not playing competitively, and I think that detracts from their desire to continue playing Hearthstone. And that's true with me too. Like I know a number of people that I've talked to that are competitive players are getting to the point where they would rather play something else for the next 4 months. Like they'll play Hearthstone until this set's finished, and they're just kind of like, I don't know, we'll see if I continue playing because there's better options for them. Because again, the reason that they enjoy this style of game is for the competitive nature of it, and they don't necessarily play it just for a casual need. They play it for its competitive need. So it doesn't fit their psychographic, and thus they might just move on, which sucks.
I think it's fine how it is with the lull, because like most games have a lull at some point. Like League of Legends has a lull after Worlds. I'm pretty sure Dota does. You look at physical sports, they all usually have a lull. Like the NFL, the AFL in Australia has like after September, it's more than that. It's like a 5-month lull or something like that. But I think it's good. It's good. It gives everyone a break, because if you try and fill the off season with like a bunch of meaningful tournaments and stuff, you increase the rate of burnout, and that sort of like is bad for the game. But I definitely understand like the idea of that it's not, maybe it's not quite balanced to where it needs to be, but because obviously there's something you can debate at length, and it's up to Blizzard eventually. But it just sort of seems, I think maybe that's where something like Seat Story Cup or those sort of like third party or good tournaments is where you want to fill in the competitive scene, or at least the fan scene, because it's like I'm basically waiting for BlizzCon at this point. Yeah, like there's very little incentive. I'm pending like the last call tournament being different to how it's written in the rules for ANZ. I probably won't be playing any competitive Hearthstone for a long time. Like
it's unfortunate though.
Well, it's just like I don't know. It is and it's not, in the sense that
I guess what I wish is that there were just like like 8-man tournaments when you want to play for fun, those kind of things, or like I got 2 hours, I don't really have an incentive to climb ladder, let's do this instead. And I think that just makes for a more enjoyable experience for me. Like that's when I play Magic, I love going and playing in like my local shop, because it's just like an 8-man tournament. We just go down, we play for fun. It's 3 rounds. After 3 rounds, after like 2 hours or an hour, or like however long it takes, I go grab lunch, and then I call it like that afternoon, and that's fun for me. But like with Hearthstone, it's like, I can grind some ladder for an hour, and then it's like, cool, I'm done. And then I'm just like, I don't really want to go back to this right now. There's just not a very big incentive for me.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I'd be more incentivized if there were 8-mans. I mean, that seems like a great idea, but
we're not there yet. It is. It is what it is. Yeah.
There's the old lull, the postseason lull.
Mm-hmm.
This going to be interesting. You know how it is. We've done this a couple of times now, so. But yeah, that's solid week of Karazhan, I guess, and we'll see how it all pans out. See if we can next week. Actually save Nadeev from his fate.
From the Spire.
Maybe.
There is one more card to probably mention, is Moonglade Portal, before we actually wrap up on the cards for this set. Moonglade Portal was the 6-mana druid card that says restore 6 health, summon a random 6-cost minion. I don't think the card's gonna be impactful, but like again, it's not too unnotable, because it's basically 6 mana, get a 6-drop, gain 6 life. Like if you want to put it in perspective, I kind of think of like Shield Maiden. It minus the fact that Shield Maiden had synergy with Shield Slam. But it feels very similar to Shield Maiden in that it gives you a 6-drop, it gains you 6 health, and that's, and on top of that, you can also target one of your minions with the Moonglade Portal. So there's some definite synergies with big fat wall things that Druid generally gets. So Moonglade Portal might see some play, but I still just think it's like You might as well just run a consistent 6-drop is what it feels like to me. So
agreed.
Yeah. Great thing to get off of your Raven Idol though.
Oh
makes
yeah.
makes Raven Idol a lot better.
Yeah.
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 Because there's a lot of times where you just like, I just need to gain some life, and you're like, oh, I get to gain life and get a dude. Sick.
Yeah.
Like, awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. I think it really does. It truly buffs Raven Idol quite a bit.
Yeah, and yeah, I can see it like eventually earning a place. Like, it maybe in the coming years there might be a set like a format where 6-drops are particularly good, and it tips it slightly in the balance. Like currently, where like Tuskar Totemic is, sort of where it seems kind of hard to roll badly. Like it feels like you're always getting something good. Where maybe if they change the balance of 6-drops, then this card gets inherently better. But other than that, no, I agree. I think just playing the 6-drop you want to play is just better than randoming and getting that 6 extra health.
Yeah, that's a really good assessment of all the portals, really, because some of these portals are not fantastic, like Ironforge portal, the one that gains you 4 armor and summons a random 4-cost minion. Like, what happens if like Defender of Argus rotates out and now all we have are good 4-drops out of nowhere? Like, you can change the power level of these cards, which is kind of cool. It's good. It's a good game. That's good game design, I guess, because you can adjust things so that they're not relevant in a certain meta and they're relevant in another. It's kind of cool.
Now, side random question, Brad, do you get random Twitter followers who are just some random like porn site dating thing?
Yeah,
that was a lot of random.
Not followers. I get like people who
they'll like favorite a tweet.
They'll favorite
like
a tweet from like 7.5 months ago.
Yeah,
they're just bottom feeders.
Okay, just I wanted to check if it was only me and there's some sort of dodgy website that I'd signed up to, but no, it seems like it's relatively consistent.
Yeah, they're just bottom feeders.
Makes me feel better.
Yep. You know which one gets the most traction? You remember when I played I don't know why this one, but do you remember when I played to Legend and then like conceded all the way down to the bottom of Legend and I was like ranked 6,217? That particular post still gets notifications of people who have like liked it, and then I like click on the person and every single time it's just like one of those like, it's just like cam girl crap. It's ridiculous. But I don't know why that particular one, but that particular one has some sort of like some bot in the world tagged it, and like now when other bot systems go back through it, it sends a like to it. It's kind of annoying.
Maybe it's a keyword. Was dumpster in it?
Was dumpster in it?
Was that what it is? Is that the search?
I probably wrote the word dumpster in there.
This guy just wrote dumpster. He probably watches Cam Girls. Is that the relation? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Dumpster rank.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about Twitter.
Yeah, I think that's all I got to say.
Fantastic.
Get back to the yeah, what do you got on your brain, Mikey? Yeah. Hankering for some Legion, I know I am.
I'm looking forward to it. Probably gonna start. I don't know. Probably this weekend, Friday on. I might hop on, but I probably won't hit it hard until Friday.
I'm gonna hit it hard and fast today. I'm gonna try and power through to 110 after this podcast. So
I want to know what rating's gonna be like. Is Emerald Dream open now?
No.
Or Emerald Nightmare. I'm sorry, Nightmare.
Well, the raid. No.
Yeah.
There's an instance for it. Like
okay.
But yeah, there's a where you chase after Xavius, who's picked up Malfurion.
Yeah.
And then some interesting stuff happens with a certain green dragon, but yeah.
All right.
You'll have to play the game to see.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
All right, boys. Anything else?
No, I want to keep dragging it on though, just so Mushu can't get back to playing.
Well, fuck you! I'll load it right up and you get the full extent of my graphics card noise. Follow Brad at twitch.tv/Bradford Lee.
Follow Mushu at Mushu Man on Twitter. And follow Mike Tattoo
and
Her.
follow me on Interstate 75 in Georgia.
I like it.
Yes. All right. Well, this has been episode 79 of the Death Rattle Crew. Don't forget you can follow us at www.deathrattlecrew.com. Find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Farmers Only, all those places. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I keep forgetting to announce the winners. So what I'm going to do is I'll say their names next week, but we've missed 2 months. So I'm just going to send the winners their winnings, and then we'll say their names next week. I'm not going to make them wait anymore.
Say my name.
To be entered to win, all you got to do is follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Farmers Only. I really need to get on Farmers Only.
I feel like ask questions about Bradford's beard.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yep.
Mike Tattoo Hearn's ability to accelerate his wheelchair very
fast.
Inhumanly fast.
One other thing to note: if you guys have not sent us a review on iTunes, please send us a review on iTunes.
Yes.
That really does help out the show. Please just stop what you're doing right now. Go over to iTunes, send us a review as always, and of course, send us emails as well. We'll always read your emails if you guys send us anything and you want to. No matter what it is, it seems like we read it.
Yeah,
I think we answered like one email ever.
Even if there's like your comment on iTunes is dicks out for Harambe. I mean,
we'll read that.
You beat me to it. So I've always wanted to collect artwork, but I was always been too poor. So have you guys seen my Pepe painting? I don't think you've shown it to you guys. Okay, so I bought a painting of Pepe on eBay. I think I bought it.
Wait. Pepe is in like the bird, or is in
no, the frog,
like,
the dank meme.
Man,
yeah,
meme.
Yeah, it feels good, feels bad, man. So I found one. We were sitting at a bar drinking one, and we were just talking about Pepe or whatever. And I'm like, and I wonder what I could find on eBay. So I found the painting, bought it. Guy shipped it to me, and he sent me 2 letters. He said, "Thank you for purchasing the painting. The proceeds are going towards my future purchase of North Korea." And he promised me, he sent me a letter of authenticity that he would never paint another Feels Bad Man Pepe. So I have the rarest Pepe. You cannot copy my Pepe. Don't try. But all that to be said, I want to collect as many dank memes as I can. I want a painting of Harambe.
You mean you're gonna get like a wall, like a galleria of dank
Harambe.
memes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it don't have room in this house. We'll probably be moving next year. So I will have room next year, and I've been promised a man cave. So, dank memes everywhere. I want a painting of Harambe. I will even pay for it. I'll even pay for it. So if you're out there, if you draw or you paint, I really like charcoal, like really like black and white or pencils, but I'll even take a painting. If you know someone that paints, draws, maybe even digital, I'll take digital art too. If you're, good with Photoshop or InDesign or whatever.
Can I make you a collage?
A collage? I don't like collages.
Darn.
I'm not a collage. I'm not.
What about like if this is postmodern art? Can I give you like a sculpture as well? Can we do sculptures?
Oh. Yeah, because I could get a shelf. If it's a good finger painting.
All right.
So
let's fuck out of here.
All right. I want a Pepe or Harambe. You want to go play WoW, and Brad, what do you want to do?
He wants to know
I want to go eat dinner.
All right, perfect.
I want no more yogs. Hashtag fuck yog. Make it trend, folks.
DRC confirmed.
Make Hearthstone great again.
Yes.
All right. So from the rest of the crew, I'm Tech2. That's Bradford Lee and Mushu, and we will see you next week.